Welcome to another edition of Resortera Wave, the World Cup edition, the first one we do now that the World Cup started several days ago. Um, already a lot of games, Ecuador. Uh, Up to now, Ecuador is the only team from the Americas to get a win in the World Cup. Who would have thought that Argentina wasn't going to be able to get one today, and Mexico was very close against Poland. Even the U.S. Against Wales, I think that first half was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Um, Oscar, first of all, thanks for joining. A little bit, your first impressions, no, on the busy last days of a lot of international football.
No, yeah, Nayib, it's great to do our official World Cup episodes.
Yeah,
I've been enjoying it. I'm not gonna lie, I picked up a cold over the weekend, so I haven't been physically 100%, but it was a nice excuse really now to really just sit on the couch and watch so many games. To me, I feel like the World Cup really started with that U.S. Wales game, the
yeah.
atmosphere, the intensity. Brilliant game that was, and then today it just started to kick off again. Some good games we've been seeing.
Yeah,
Tunisia and
Denmark.
Denmark. Sorry, that was a really good game too.
Yeah, Senegal, Netherlands as
That was
well.
good too.
So
Senegal, I
there's
got out lucky, in my opinion.
Yeah, so look, it's you see the scoreline, you think the Netherlands won, easily, but it looked like Senegal created their chances. But today talking, let's go real quick to looking a little bit of the formation today for El Tri. I think when you see the lineup, not that many surprises. There was doubts on whether Martin was gonna get the start or if it was gonna be Funes or Raúl. I think it was pretty planned through. The presence of Edson was needed here in the center to support the center backs mostly. I think in the movement of the ball, um, good display from my opinion from Vega and Chucky in the sense
Hmm.
of I think I posted it on Twitter. I think Vega 7 recoveries, Chucky 6 recoveries. So it means that these guys literally went the limit. They really came in this area. Um, of
Chavez
course,
too.
yeah,
I think man in the match performance as well, in my
yeah.
opinion.
Chavez is the best on-field player for El Tri at the moment, which is very, very crazy to say. I never thought it was gonna happen this way, but of
He
course,
stepped up.
Ochoa, yeah, Ochoa takes the light because of the penalty save. But I don't know. The thing about Chavez that is very, very impressive right now is just um, the vision, the patience on the ball, but just being also what's the word, risk taker.
Brave,
You
yeah, he
do
was really
you
brave today.
need to take risk if you're gonna win this match, a match like today. I think I've had many chances to see the reflections. I mean, on Twitter, I think from shows. um, I've heard Mario Carrillo on ESPN. I heard him say something about like profundidad, that there wasn't that many stuff going on in the final third for El Tri, and that's maybe the critical part right now. The reality is that with Vega and Chucky, there was a lot of, I want to say, defiance and confidence moving on the wings, but then the end product wasn't there really. There wasn't that many moments where Szczesny was very rattled under the three post.
No, no, I agree, Nate, completely there. I think Mario Carrillo kind of hit it right on head on the nail there.
Yeah,
Sorry. But yeah, I think a lot of the discourse right now is that we kind of dominated the game, and we were talking a little bit off fair. Was like
yeah,
in the sphere of Mexican football, and I guess kind of the way I don't know. I guess the way that specific game got set up, yes, we kind of did. We were definitely the protagonists. We were the ones trying to create, trying to do something. But right once we get into that final third, we definitely lack that final conviction. Like you said, I think the clearest opportunity that we actually created something was that Vega header or shoulder header thing that
yeah.
he
It was
got.
it was when Nachach actually was on the wing,
Hmm.
and he sent
And
it with the left right here.
yeah, exactly. And then I mean, there was instances where like a Chucky or Vega would try to create something out of nowhere, but it would just be kind of like a little bit too much for them to handle. Even Chavez had like a great run in the second half as well, where he
Yeah,
kind of like exerted this like crazy energy that came out of nowhere. He took on like two players, and then he might have got fouled or not. But I think yeah, that more than anything, we lacked that final piece of conviction in the final third. I think.
that was one pass right that Chavez gave to Gallardo.
Behind
Also,
the ball, yeah,
yeah,
excellent ball, yeah,
and then it just didn't end through there. Um, during the game, after the game, I did the el five, basically quick reaction to the game. I mean, I didn't even look at stats. It was just what I saw with my own two eyes. And I did say that Achache shouldn't be a starter, let alone his substitution was Charlie instead of Achache. Um, and then after recovering and seeing stats and analyzing, well, the guy that had the most aerial duels one was actually Achache. And there was Achache hit a lot of nice pockets in the first half. I'm not gonna say, I don't know if it was Achache from 2014 or, so the older Achache or an Achache that was in better shape. I think those plays might have ended differently.
yeah.
But it was he hit pockets today where I think Corbelin Pineda could have done better. Especially in the form that he is. He's actually playing. He's confident. But it seems that Tata doesn't really see him highly, just like Chacho Coudet didn't see him highly in Celta de Vigo. Because if we look at the first two preparation games, the game against Sweden and also the game against Iraq, I
Iran,
mean,
Iraq, sorry.
I think for the Iraq he wasn't
He
available,
wasn't
but
there yet, I think. Yeah.
yes, Sweden is he really he didn't play if I'm not mistaken right now. So that was that aspect, and then the other one was when they took out Vega. Maybe in that situation, maybe a Linus would have been better, but Linus is not even on the list. So it is very, very. Maybe the game was for Alvarado, not Antuna. If you needed someone to sort of be able to take the one-on-one, have a little bit vision, a bit of a number 10. I think you told me that off air, Oscar. That's something that El Tri lacked today.
No, no, yeah, Nayib, I agree on that. Just quick, I think when you mentioned the Hache situation or substitution, I agree. He didn't look necessarily great. Like for me, if I could rank the midfield, Chavez, Hache, and then Edson, in my opinion.
Yeah,
And then I just think putting Charlie in was like as soon as he went in, I just knew it wasn't gonna be a game for him, just because how physical the game was as well.
yeah, yeah.
And you just saw it right away. It just wasn't a game for him. At least Orbelin doesn't have that physical presence either, but he has at least that speed to him. At least he has that. And like I said, I think I don't know. It's a difficult one, but with the winger situation, yeah, I agree. I think I mentioned. I think Tecatito would have excelled at this game because you saw like players like Vega and Chucky getting on the flanks, who it's not necessarily their strong suit, especially Chucky. Like, and you just saw him like just one little finta, and he would beat the Polish defender quite easily. To be
Yeah.
honest, same thing with Vega, and I just think, like I said, a game like this with Tecatito, Linus coming off the bench, even though his decision making could be a little bit iffy, but I just think it was a game set up for him that I think that it would be good for those type of wingers, those types of players.
Yeah, no, and I think that's where it ends. No, those are the options available. No, with El Tri is against Argentina. If you're thinking about getting a result, you got to score. And today El Tri wasn't able to score. Raúl, in the few minutes that he was on the field, very few touches, not so influential. There was one play where he could have done better in his decision making, but it wasn't a Raúl that will define you the match. No. Um, and to be honest, based on I know it was Iraq, but Funes Mori looked way better than Henry Martin. I mean, in just the sharpness in front of goal. And since then, from Martin, a good connection, but not. I just didn't see that definition spark yet from Martin today.
You know what, Naib? I'm gonna say I liked what Martin brought to the table. That being said, as a forward, you definitely need to have that. Your number one duty is to score goals and create that offensive threat.
Yeah, and do you think that Martin's presence really? I feel that Funes, because of his height and because of his ability, I think he does impose a presence in the box. Martin doesn't impose a presence in the
No,
box, and
without a doubt, exactly.
that gave breathing room to the center backs of Poland.
Hmm.
And then another thing is, um, if you look at the stats, if I'm not mistaken, I was looking at some stats. So the crosses, Mexico had 33 crosses, Poland had 15 crosses, and of course that has a lot to do with the possession of the game. Mexico had most of the ball, but I don't know if against Poland you score off crosses. I feel like you waste opportunities and you waste time on the ball if you're going to cross the ball against Poland, especially if your only striker, quote unquote, striker in the box is Martin in the first 45 minutes of the game. I get it now, then with Raul because a little bit of height, but even Raul never got one cross into the box or never, no se miraba por donde. So all these crosses, 33 crosses. Is it a smart tactical stylistical or a demand that you can ask? Maybe that is lo que hay, no? But at the same time, I'm like, I feel it was wasted. I think, and I know, and I told you that during the game, Oscar. I was like, I feel like this you could attack through the middle, and you're talking about the middle is too compact. It's too compact. But that's where the one-on-ones go in. That's
Hmm.
where, for example, Vega had several moments where he dribbled off the defenders. Chucky as well. If he had other players that could do that, Orbelin saying, I believe Orbelin could have done that, something through the middle, because he has that in him. But if you keep going through the wings and crossing in, I feel like there was a lot of wasted chances there.
No, no, yeah. I mean, in theory, yeah. Who knows really like what like anyone on paper, right? If you're like playing a game of FIFA or you're the coach in that moment, you expect a Mexican national team trying to get a goal on a set piece or crosses. I mean, yeah, and like I said, I think one of the big reasons was that the compactness of the midfield. It was always going to be difficult to like ping the ball, do tippy tappy, kind of what Spain would could do in a sense. But I just don't think Mexico would have had success. And then you saw it a little bit too. I mean, just look at the times when we lost the ball. Jorge Sanchez, Edson, Achache, was it Achache also too? When we lost it in that middle of the park or even higher, like towards in the midfield,
There was a lot of giveaways there, and I
the
think a lot
transitions
when you say dominance, and then that's good. That's going back to your point. I mean, you can't say dominance if you're losing the balls there. I mean, if it would have been a different opponent, maybe at least one, the opponent capitalizes it. But it just goes to show just how bad Poland is as a team, and isn't that it wasn't an overall good performance from Poland. They were also just so back, settled back, and see what happens with Lewandowski. And it almost worked for them because at the end of it all, it's a penalty that they win, and that could have defined the whole game.
from our
Um,
mistake too, trying to play off from the back. I showed
yeah,
you that little clip of Edson again, showing, reiterating, at least for me today. Hopefully, and I before Nayib, before we got on the call here, I'm watching Argentina Saudi Arabia right now. I just
yeah.
finished the first 45 minutes. And ojo con ese equipo, Nayib. Their high line, their pressing, Edson will struggle. One, two,
So what do you say there? What would you recommend there? Starting 3-4-3, maybe against Saudi Arabia?
three, four,
Like,
three, or the 4-3-3. But I don't think you want Edson in that defensive mid role.
but do you think one of the things with Edson that stood out today is he did give a little bit of protection to the
Oh no,
defensive
without a
line,
doubt, that's never in question, Nayib. I think what
Now
it's the
with the ball,
question.
I know it's a different story. I understand that part as well.
I think that's what I'm trying to reiterate and make the point of. But yeah, stuff. I don't know, just that an aspect that it did worry me a little bit. I mean, I mentioned too, like I don't mind giving the ball away and dealing with it. And overall, I think
But it
my
matters
other
where
point
you give
was,
the ball away too. If
yeah,
you're giving the ball away in the other area, far from your goal, there's no problem. You can take that risk. But if you're giving the ball away
where
eh,
your whole line
on
is
the
up. I
edge,
mean,
on the edge
so
of
you
the
saw
18
that.
box,
And I think that's why when Gallardo did get forward, who again naive too, my opinion, Montes, Gallardo, Moreno, and Sanchez ranking the defenders today. Montes and Gallardo are the best ones in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think Gallardo realized I can't do those overlaps and get as forward as I want because just in case we get caught in transition, we're screwed. I mean, you saw it in that first one with Jorge Sanchez. But other than that, I think too we got to credit to the team. Just overall how we defended that direct play from Poland. I mean, the
Yeah, they
fact
were
that
good
how
on
many
set pieces.
fifty-fifty
Eh?
balls, how many 50 balls that we won in general just Cesar Montes was an absolute monster. Um, even like I said, set pieces we did really well. Um, yeah, I think it was a good professional performance, but like I mentioned, I mean off air,
It's
like
still like a glass half full, no? Because
exactly, exactly.
because if you think about it, you went into the game knowing that Argentina had lost. I mean, what biggest motivator do you have than that? You know, knowing, because there was a lot of debate on how the player and the coach should interpret that, but that's a big result heading into this match because you knew from the start that you needed to beat Poland to have a certain sense of being of surviving the group, no? But now, if you would have gotten the win and knowing that Argentina had lost, you still dependent on your own destiny because let's say you beat Poland a day, you lose against Argentina, you beat Saudi Arabia, which is still, if Argentina and Saudi Arabia play 50 times, 49 times Argentina will win. And today it was the day that Saudi Arabia won. So it's like I think confidence wise, it would have been amazing for El Tri to get the win today, in my opinion, because it gave them their own les daba like the power over their own destiny. And
Mm.
now you go into the Argentina game, it's a final. It's basically like a round of 16 match, to be honest. That's what it is. Direct elimination match. Whoever wins that match, well, whoever loses that match has a big possibility of not making it out of the group stage, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, question for you, Naib here. So the way coming in, say everything kind of went to script, if you will. Argentina was supposed to win today, probably like 4-0, 3-0. Messi hat trick. Maybe they concede one goal. Um, how is that different from Argentina going the way it is, right? Going on the confidence, going on this beating streak, compared to now, they definitely feel the pressure a little bit, and they know they have to beat Mexico rather than going into the Mexico game with huge confidence and still have that they're on an
Yeah,
unbeaten streak. They feel like they can't be knocked off the
I
top.
think the confidence is still in them. You know, when they look at I mean, they rather play against Mexico than I don't know. Let's say their opponent was France tomorrow. Well, the next opponent was France. It will be a different interpretation for Argentina. They have history on their side. They've always beat Mexico.
Yeah, that's true.
That's one. And second, also, these are players of the highest level possible. I mean, these are not players that are playing in, in the Houston Dynamo or they're playing in lower league teams in Liga MX. So it's not, it shouldn't be intimidating for Argentina. But the case in point that you bring in is there'll be more space for the counterattack. And that's where Chucky shines. And that's where Vega can shine. But finding those pockets and taking advantage of them, we haven't seen it with this national team. I mean, they beat Peru 1-0, they lost to Colombia 3-2, they lost to Sweden 2-1. There isn't enough evidence, judging from this year, that El Tri has the capabilities to make or get a surprising win over Argentina. And today's performance is, if you were really an informed national team, you should have been able to beat Poland because Poland didn't really do much except for the PK. And I was also chatting with you, like, well, what I told you is you pepper in the most informed Raul Jimenez, the one before the tragic injury, and you pepper in maybe Jonathan Dos Santos from the Villarreal days instead of Achache, you win that match because talent wise, that's what you would have been a little bit up of level. Right now, Mexico tiene lo que tiene at the end of the day. It's a good Henry Martin that scored a lot of goals with America, A Raul Jimenez, who's barely coming out of an injury, and not Chache, who barely played for the Dynamo. Well, that's what you have. You can ask for more. I think that's the sad reality.
Yeah, I mean
Pero
depressing.
puede pasar lo
Yeah,
que a miracle or something, you know.
it's, I mean miracle, yes too, but then hopefully Naib. It's not that we probably deserve it or we warrant it, but there has to come to a point where we kind of like break that line in terms of like, okay, Argentina always beats us in the World Cup in important games. When are we gonna finally like, all right, it's enough. It's our turn. Let's switch it up. Let's switch it
Yeah,
up a little bit, and it's our turn. Hopefully that's the case. And I think I prefer this the way they're coming because they're gonna come in with pressure now on Saturday. I think the pressure's
yeah.
on them.
The best thing that could happen for Mexico in that game is to score first, especially in the first 15 minutes. You score first, you add the pressure on Argentina, then Argentina will need to score, and then that's when the minutes will keep adding, and if they keep being down, they'll lose confidence, so they'll be a little bit confused. Very similar to what happened 20 years ago with the 2002 team that Bielsa had. You know, it is it's a possibility, but it's so hard to just think how El Tri will score against Argentina if
Exactly.
they couldn't
Yeah.
score against Poland.
Yeah. No, I agree. But thankfully, I mean, if you look at the past, just the last two World Cups, Naib, we've never had like someone who was a prominent goal scorer and so important, other than like I guess Chicharo, I guess, because he scored in every World Cup he's been in.
Hmm.
But the diversity of scores that we've had in the World Cups, I mean, they just range from crazy, and the most important ones have just been, from good team plays, and it doesn't matter who scores, we just score and we win the
Well,
game and we win it good.
the last
Just look at the
notable goal scorer for El Tri in a World Cup was Matador Hernandez in 1998. You know that he scored
exactly.
multiple
So
goals of importance, but he missed the most important one against Germany in the round of 16, which is
so
that's
it gives
the
me a
thing.
little bit of hope. I mean, just
Yeah,
look at the range of goal scorers against some like games that we really needed to win and there were good wins. It was the Croatia game in 2014,
it was Guardado, Rafa, and then
Chicharo,
and Chicharo, yeah.
and
And I
then
think
Germany,
Rafa and
Chucky.
Chicharo scored off a two set piece in that game against Croatia, I believe. And look, that's one of the things also to note real quick. I'm not a fan of like when you have two players on the corner kick and then you do a short pass and then you move, you try to shift the movement. I like it just cross it in de una y a ver qué pasa and
Yeah.
put as
Well, I
many
think the
people in
stats
there.
support that one, right? That's why more than anything.
Because I see that pass with Mexico today a lot of not many times because there was some times where Chavez was just like I got the magic left foot, let me see if something happens. Um, and you know, just rely on that magic left foot right now with Chavez. It's like Chavez is becoming the Gallito from 2014.
Yeah, that was my
A
exact thought.
different type of player though. Different type of player. This is not Gallito, but like it's just that influential in the midfield. It's like I don't see El Tri's midfield
Yeah.
without that dude. Like
More than
it's
anything, it's a kid that's stepping up. Like, I mean, the same way Gaito came to the national team basically kind of out of nowhere, and he stepped up and performed like at the highest level possible without people even knowing who the heck he was. Same thing with Chavez. I mean, you had a player like Luis Chavez who was braver than Edson Alvarez today, in my opinion. He was better than Achache. I mean, like I said, the best on-field player, it was him and Vega, probably
do you
Chucky.
think there'll be changes against Argentina
I think Guardado starts.
instead of Hachache or instead of it's or
It's
instead
a
of look,
difficult
there's
one.
another thing to keep in mind.
Chavez,
Jorge Sanchez has a yellow card already, no? Who else has a yellow card? I think there's another player I forget right
Moreno,
now. Moreno, maybe.
he got it from the penalty.
Yeah, Moreno has
I think that
Sanchez.
was it though.
Yeah, that might have been in only those two. If you take out, for example, let's say you take out Jorge and you put Edson there. So it's Edson, Montes, Moreno as your three. Then You have Chavez, Guardado, HH. Mm,
I wouldn't mind putting. This is where the back line, the three comes and the two wing backs would come into play. Edson tucks in into that into the with the
and
center
then
backs.
Gallardo. I think Gallardo starts against Argentina because he's
Oh, he has to.
been.
Like I say,
So,
he was second best defender today.
so the three in the back would be Edson Moreno, Montes. Not in that area, but those three are the center backs. Then Gallardo, Guardado, HH, and Chavez. And then forwards it would be Chucky,
Think
Vega,
we're
and
think
Funes
Raul start.
Mori. Or huh?
Think Raul start.
It's possible Raul might start.
Especially
But if
now
you can
because they have to go
start,
for
yeah,
the
if
win.
you start Raul, you only play in 45 minutes though. I don't think he can play the whole game.
Jeez, man. I
Did
don't
you
know.
play Funes Mori against Argentina just for the
I don't
drama?
know. So, to me, Nate, to be honest, the forward doesn't really matter much because, like I said, I don't think we have a forward of quality that they make that much of a difference, like a Lewandowski. Even though we shut him down for the most part, but to
Yeah.
the point where the difference is going to be made so drastically, I think it's just going to come from
So
whoever steps up.
you could put Vega, Chucky, Antuna as your front three against Argentina. Is that what you're saying? Like we
I
don't really care who the nine is anymore.
No, I would probably still put it like at least some
Yeah,
natural
yeah,
number
yeah,
nine
yeah.
because even though Martin, it's people are questioning. Like to me, I liked what I saw from him.
He
He held up the
holds the
ball
ball well.
and he serviced Chucky and Vega a lot today more than anything. Obviously, as a forward, I mean, the number one job you have to score goals, but I mean, it's difficult with the national, especially the Mexico national team. I mean, just look at the stats with all the guys in qualifiers, Gold Cup. When
Yeah,
like it's hard to even get 3+ goals from out of them.
yeah. No, I think it's a good way to close it. Oscar, the way that you just said it right there is I think it's one of the biggest lessons of the Tata Martina era is the number nine really doesn't matter who it is as long as they can like really be able to generate a place
Just
for
get
Vega
just
or
get the ball at the
Chucky.
back of the net. Exactly.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it was like a glass half full. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't amazing. It was just things got done. I think the Ochoa save was definitely a big viral moment for sure in many in the many sense of the world. It created amazing things. And yeah, we'll follow through. I mean, it's a big match. A lot of Martino
I'm
coached
excited, Nayib.
Argentina.
Regardless, I'm excited. It could
Uh,
be it. It could be it.
Funes
Let's hope.
Mori is an Argentine that's playing for El Trino, and
Tata too.
that all that storyline will be important. Guardado, if he plays 2006, 2010, he was part of those teams. Now maybe la tercera la vencida for Guardado in
Let's hope so.
2022.
Let's hope so.
So thank you for watching Resortera Wave. We'll try to post more of these. I think maybe we'll do one before Argentina, but I think more likely after the Argentina game, we'll do another one. So thank you for watching and enjoy. Keep enjoying the World Cup.
I guess take it.